Hey guys, welcome back to Little Boy Customs. Today we're going to work on fitment of the cab onto the car. I know there's a couple of areas that I still need to trim up on this cab, like right down here. I need to notch that out in order for it to fit. But the first thing we're going to work on is finish cutting this brace out right here. It's too wide and I need to narrow it down a little bit, so that's the first thing we're going to work on. Check it out, guys, we got the cab on for the first time. I am running into some problems, which I kind of thought I would. So I took the Grand Marquis dash completely apart, and this is the metal bracket that's inside of there. I put that on there in order to hold the steering wheel up, just kind of move it around, and also to keep the steering wheel in the ideal location. That way, whenever I get ready, because I'm going to use this dash, but I wanted the steering wheel to still be in the ideal location with the car. So with that in mind, I knew that this dash here was going to take up some of the area that this piece down here originally was welded to, and I'll show you on the other cab. So the post on the car came all the way up to here, went all the way to the door opening, and then started going down. And it actually goes right down the seam, and then it starts curving in as you get lower. So the dash so with that in mind, this dash is roughly a foot 12 inches long, somewhere in there. This post is in the way of the dash. So I need to cut 12 inches out of this area here. Now I don't know exactly how far that way I need to cut. But I do know that the cab is not in the right location because I have that gap there, which is huge. That gap there is about 2.5 inches. So the cab needs to go towards the front of the truck 2.5 inches in order for this wheel to be in the right location of the front fender. So with that in mind, we'll have to move the cab 2.5 inches forward. We need to cut some more of the car off, about 12 inches from the top of this post, which is right there, down. We need to cut about 12 inches out of this post in order to get this all in. I also think that I'm going to end up cutting this here out, which is the stuff that I had welded in order to meet the old cab up with the new cab, or meet the old cab up with the car. So I'm going to have to cut all this out right here. I was afraid, and I'm not sure that I don't need to, but I'm not sure if I need to cut some of this section out as well, which is the original car firewall. So I'm going to cut the pillars down on both sides and go from there. Now this piece here, I'm not going to keep it in here, not all of it at least. If I do keep parts of it, it'll be the part just to keep the steering wheel mounted up, because it keeps me from having to fabricate something else, and why reinvent the wheel when the wheel's already made. So but I'm sure that part of this will be cut down as well. Now, I do like the idea of parts of this being in here because it covers up the AC and heating box there, and I could use sheet metal to cover the rest of it up all the way down, and it would extend off of this. But we won't know that until we get the cab completely down first and the dash is actually in its right location. So what I've done is I've picked the cab back up and moved the cab forward to the ideal location where I want it. And I don't mean ideal as in This is exactly the right location forward that I need it to be at, but it's more of a ballpark of where I need it to be at. If you'll notice, the gap is pretty well closed up. You can see it better on this side. See how that lip right there is supposed to be on this side of this lip. It's not exactly, but it's pretty close on both sides. So we know that we're about 2.5 inches forward, somewhere there, maybe closer to 2 inches, but we're about 2 inches forward. So the reason why I did this, and this is the part of the job that really sucks. If you've never built one of these trucks, it is put the cab on and off 50,000 times to make sure you get it right, and cut and cut and cut and take more off, and it's really a pain in the butt. This part of the job is. So the whole reason why I did this is to find out how much of this post I wanted to cut out. So I know I needed about a foot of this post out this direction in order to clear this here, this taper that's on the dash already. So the reason why I did this part of it is to find out how much of that direction I needed to cut out. So it looks like this post here, I need to cut the 12 inches out going down, and about 3.5 inches going that way. So we're going to take the cab off again, start doing some cutting, and then, like I said, this is the worst part of the whole job. It's on again, off again, on again, off again. It's really a pain in the butt. Alright, I've been sitting here doing measuring and all this other stuff off camera, and I've come up with a different option. Instead of cutting this post down, this is really the integrity of the front end of the car. This post, it's not, I'm not going to say it will keep the front end completely all together, but it really is the core support of keeping the firewall, the top half of the firewall. So I'm not loving the idea of cutting this post, more so than what it's already been cut. At least not to 12 inches. 12 inches is like down here somewhere, and so that's below this section here. So I'm not really loving that, but I threw a light behind the dash. So got the light on behind the dash, and I was really looking at this dash. It's been a while since I cut one of these, and what I remember cutting is up here at the top all the way around, and I couldn't remember how I cut down through here. But if you can see, I don't know if it's going to show, there you go. So you see all that light coming through there? It looks like the only location that it might actually be connected is down there on the bottom. Now I looked at the other cab, but I plasma cut the car off of that cab, and so that destroyed all this area right here that's on that cab. So here's my second thought. Instead of cutting this, I'll get to the point. Instead of cutting this, what I'm thinking about doing is taking a Sawzall blade and cutting down that seam right there, and then pulling this bow that's in this now, pulling it out of the dash, bringing it on out. Now that does two things. It clears these two posts, and therefore I can keep the post, which is part of the integrity of the car. But number two is, if you look, now I'm going to use most likely this steering wheel here, mainly the reason why is cost. But if you look at the dash coming down, it's going to put it way over, and all that area that wasn't meant to be shown will be shown. So all this area right here would be shown, which is not what I want. So if I pull this dash out, it'll cover some of that up as well. So kind of killing two birds with one stone. Plus I don't have to worry about trying to get around this taper that's in this dash. So I'm thinking that I may just cut this dash right here, pull it back out, and then weld it back together. So it won't look exactly original, but it won't look like it's not original either, and maybe it'll look okay. Alright, so y'all saw me cut this section out here, which released the bottom half. I lowered the cab back down. It's not exactly in its right location. It still needs to come forward quite a bit, but if you look at the dash, it doesn't look that bad. And if you look all the way across over there, that is right on the door seam, just like it should be. As far as making it all pass, I still think I'm gonna have to cut some out of this panel of that right there, but nowhere near as much. So I'm pretty happy about that. So the only bad thing is while I was doing it, I did ripped a little hole on both sides of the dash right there, but I think that's easily patchable. So I'm not too concerned about that. And then of course I'll re-weld the bottom half of the dash down here back to the cab. But I am liking it a lot better. This bracket that's right here, that was original to the truck. I'm gonna have to take the cab off and cut that out. That's what's stopping me now. So that's where we're at. The cab's back down onto the car again. I need to cut this back section here out in order for the back of the cab to go on down. But as far as the dash goes, I did cut this bracket out right here, rip that out. So I have pushed the dash out. This was tapered in quite a ways. I've pushed it all the way out to where it's flush right here. I'll weld that back together right there. It does cause the dash to rip right here. I'm sure it's because it doesn't have enough material in that area right there, or maybe it's just welded. I think it's because it doesn't have enough material. But I will re-weld that back together, reform this little area right in here, and weld that back together. And then I think we'll clear everything that I'm concerned about up here as far as this cross member right here goes, and this post right here that was original to the car. Now as far as the lower, now this was the metal that was behind the dash inside of the Grand Marquis. We will be chopping this down quite a bit. I am going to try and keep this inside the car, but I'm going to try and chop this down. And the reason why I want to keep this is so that you have this flat panel down here, and then you got the bottom of the dash, and I want the dash to just kind of extend down. So what I will do is make a valance out of metal that comes all the way down and runs all the way across to help kind of cover up that AC unit and that kind of stuff, so you don't see it as much when you're just sitting in the truck. Make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I'm also going to cover in these holes right here and either put the Grand Marquis stuff inside the glove box over there, or build some sort of a middle console, which I haven't decided yet because I haven't found seats for this yet. But as you can see, we're really close back here to where it's supposed to be setting. It may need to go forward just a little bit more, but that's where we're at. I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. So as far as the height, right now it's setting a lot taller than the original did. And I think part of that might be this area right over here. On the last cab, I notched this area out right here in order to clear inside there. And as you can see, it's already hitting, so I'd have to notch this out to get it to go down any further, which may be something I do. I haven't really decided yet. So I do know that the last cab was, I had what they call body dropped it, and it was too low because when you went to try to turn, I couldn't get wheel clearance on the fenders. It was just too low. So I mean, I could do that again, but I'd be fighting wheel clearance again. I'm not wanting to do that, so my plan this time is to raise the cab up on this and make it set a little taller, more like a truck would set, I guess. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, better ways than what I did it today, then by all means, please leave a comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching. Till next time, be safe.